You know, for millions of people, there's this sound that just never stops, a sound that no one else can even hear. It's called tinnitus, and it can be absolutely debilitating. But what if we're on the verge of a much better way to manage it? Today, we're going to dig into some new research that offers a really promising roadmap for tackling this invisible challenge. All right, let's get into it.
So, first things first, what are we actually talking about here? This quote from the research really nails it. Tinnitus isn't a noise coming from outside. It's the perception of sound, like a constant ringing or a buzzing or a hissing that's actually starting inside your own head. It's kind of like a phantom sound. There's nothing in the room making noise, but for the person experiencing it, it is 100% real.
And believe me, this isn't just some minor annoyance. We're talking about something that for millions of Americans can have a huge, negative impact on their quality of life. I mean, it can mess with everything from your sleep and your ability to concentrate to your overall physical and mental health. It's a big deal.
So this gets us right to the core of the problem, and it's a fascinating one. How in the world do you treat a sound that, isn't really a sound? Let's take a look at how experts are thinking about this now.
Okay, the first thing you've got to understand, and this is a really crucial point, is that while there's no magic bullet, no absolute cure for tinnitus right now, it is an extremely manageable condition. The goal isn't to just magically erase the sound. Instead, it's all about fundamentally changing the brain's relationship with it. It's about reducing its impact and giving people control back over their lives. So how do you do that? Well, to get that control, researchers have developed this really innovative framework. It's called the SEC model, and it's designed to tackle tinnitus from 3 totally distinct but interconnected angles. All right, this is where it gets really interesting. The SEC model is what you'd call a holistic approach. First up is S for sensation. This tackles the sound itself, using tools like sound generators. Then you've got E for emotion, because tinnitus can bring on a ton of frustration and anxiety. This part uses counseling and relaxation to handle those feelings. And finally, C is for cognition, which is all about your thought patterns. This part uses a super powerful tool called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, to help people identify and change those destructive thought loops. The big idea here is that you have to treat all 3 parts, the sound, the feeling, and the thought, to really be successful.
Okay, so the theory sounds great, right? But the million-dollar question is, does it actually work in practice? Let's jump into the first study and see what they found.
So in this first study, researchers looked back at the data from 50 patients who had received the full SEC treatment. They had the sound generators for sensation, counseling for emotion, and for cognition, they used something called ICBT. That stands for Internet-Based Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, basically digital programs with exercises to help reframe negative thoughts. The key thing here, though, is that it was unguided therapy. The patients worked through all the modules on their own.
So, the big question, of course, did it actually make a difference?
And the answer is a resounding yes. The results were pretty amazing. They measured how much distress patients were feeling using the Tinnitus Reaction Questionnaire. Before the treatment, the average score was 57.1. And after, it dropped all the way down to 31.5. I mean, that is a huge improvement. And the crucial thing is, this wasn't just a small change. The researchers called it a clinically significant reduction. This was clear proof that the SEC model, tackling sensation, emotion, and cognition all together, is a seriously powerful and effective way to manage tinnitus.
So the unguided approach works. That's fantastic news. But, the story doesn't end there. Researchers started asking a really important question. Could we make this already effective treatment even better? What would happen if we added a human guide into the mix? And that led them to a second study, which is a really key evolution in this whole approach. You can see the difference right here. The first study used unguided ICBT. Patients did it all on their own. This new study introduced guided ICBT. This meant patients also got 6 one-on-one sessions with a clinician to help them through the modules and really reinforce those coping strategies.
And the goal was simple: to figure out if adding that structured human support could boost the already promising results. Would having a guide help people engage more deeply and get even better outcomes?
Well, the early results are pretty compelling. First, look at this. There was an average increase of almost 21 points on what's called the 4C confidence scale. Now, what does that mean? Well, this scale measures things like confidence and your sense of control over the condition. So a 21-point jump means patients felt significantly more empowered and capable of managing their tinnitus day to day.
And on top of that, their emotional distress dropped. The SAD-T score, which measures anxiety and depression related to tinnitus, went down by an average of 2 points. And that points to a real reduction in the emotional burden of the condition. So after looking at both of these studies, what does this all mean for the future of tinnitus care? Where are we headed?
Let's just quickly recap the key takeaways here. First, the big picture. The SEC model is a powerful framework. It proves that treating sensation, emotion, and cognition all at once is absolutely the key to success. Second, the method. Internet-based therapy is a fantastic tool. We saw that the unguided version works well on its own, and now the guided version, with that extra human support, shows even more promise for boosting confidence and reducing distress.
Ultimately, what you should take away from this is that this research provides a clear roadmap. It's a path toward a more comprehensive, more effective, and honestly, a more patient-centered way of managing tinnitus. It's about giving hope and real, practical tools to